The starlight signal. The eternal light shuddered as another energy blast struck its failing shields. Admiral Tyrion gripped the command console as emergency lights bathed the bridge in crimson. His crystalline skin, normally luminous with the soft blue glow of Selene vitality, had dimmed to a dull flicker. "Shield integrity at 12%, announced First Officer Neela, her voice strained yet dignified. "We cannot withstand another direct hit." Admiral Tyrion surveyed the tactical display with growing despair. The Selene Confederation, once spanning 200 peaceful star systems, now clung to existence by the thinnest of threads. The Voidborn had emerged from the darkness between galaxies 8 months ago, their obsidian ships consuming everything in their path like cosmic locusts. "Status of our defensive fleet?" Tyrion asked, though he already knew the answer. "The Dawnsinger and Stellar Dream have been destroyed," Neela replied softly. "We are the last line." Tyrion closed his eyes momentarily. 3 ships against a Voidborn armada had been hopeless from the beginning, but they had to try. Millions of Selene civilians were evacuating to the sanctuary worlds hidden deep in the nebula regions, and every minute of delay meant more lives saved. "Admiral," called Communications Officer Valen, "the High Council is requesting emergency communication." The main display flickered to life, showing the ancient, weathered face of Grand Counselor Lizara. Her ceremonial robes, normally immaculate and adorned with stellar patterns, appeared disheveled. "Admiral Tyrion," she began, her voice carrying the weight of an entire civilization's fate. "Your bravery has given our people precious time, but we must now implement our final measure." Tyrion felt a chill course through him. "The Earth Beacon." "Grand Counselor, with respect, we know nothing about these beings except ancient legends. Legends that say they survived on a world that would kill any Selene within minutes," Lizara countered. "Stories that claim they fought off a Draken invasion fleet when their technology was still primitive. We have no other options left." Another blast rocked the ship. The emergency lights flickered momentarily. "Engine core destabilizing," reported Chief Engineer Sorrel. "We have perhaps 15 minutes before catastrophic failure." Tyrion made his decision. "Activate the Earth Beacon, Grand Counselor." Lizara nodded solemnly. "Already done. The coordinates are sent. If they answer—" She left the sentence unfinished. Tyrion turned to his science officer. "Bring the beacon online." Science Officer Malus moved to a sealed console at the back of the bridge. She pressed her palm against its surface, and the panel slid open to reveal an ancient device covered in symbols no modern Selene could read. Created over 2,000 years ago after the first and only contact with the mysterious humans, it had been preserved as both a relic and a last resort. "Powering up," Malus said. "The beacon is drawing energy directly from our core." The ship's lights dimmed further as power diverted to the ancient device. Tyrion watched as strange glyphs on its surface began to glow with intense green light. "What message does it send?" Tyrion asked quietly. "According to the archives," said Lizara from the screen, "it transmits our coordinates and 3 simple words in their language. Help us, Earth." The device hummed louder, vibrating the deck beneath their feet. Then a beam of brilliant emerald light shot upward, passing through the ship's hull as if it weren't there. "Signal away," Malus confirmed. "Transmitting on frequencies and through methods I cannot comprehend." A massive explosion rocked the ship, throwing crew members to the floor. "Direct hit," shouted Sorrel. "Engine containment failing." Tyrion helped Neela back to her station. "How long before the signal reaches Earth?" "Unknown," Malus answered. "The beacon operates outside normal spacetime. It could be minutes or days." "Well," Tyrion said with a grim smile, "I doubt we'll be around to find out." The Grand Counselor's face showed deep sadness. "You have done your duty, Admiral. History will remember the crew of the Eternal Light." Another hit rocked the ship, and the communication cut off. Tyrion looked around at his brave crew. "Divert all remaining power to engines," he ordered. Let's ram one of those obsidian ships and give the Voidborn something to remember us by." As the eternal light turned toward the largest enemy vessel, the ancient beacon continued transmitting its call, racing across the stars toward a small blue planet whose inhabitants had no idea they were both feared and revered throughout the galaxy. Toward Earth, toward the Deathworlders. Commander Eliza Mercer was halfway through her morning run around the United Earth Defense Force headquarters when the alarms began to wail. 7 miles in and barely breaking a sweat, she immediately changed direction, sprinting toward the command center. "What's happening?" she demanded as she entered the bustling room, where screens flashed with data and officers moved with urgent purpose. Admiral Chen looked up from the central holographic display. "Something impossible. We've received an alien signal." Eliza stared at him. Earth had been isolated for centuries. History recorded brief alien contacts in the distant past, but nothing since the Great Silence began. Many believed Earth was under quarantine, though no one knew why. "Show me," she said. The main screen displayed a pulsing emerald light. "It appeared 30 minutes ago," explained Dr. Kato, the head xenoscientist. "We've never seen anything like it. It's not using any known transmission method." "Have you decoded it?" asked Eliza. "That's the strange part," said Dr. Kato, pulling up another screen. It came in perfect English, coordinates, and 3 words: "Help us, Earth." The command center fell silent. Those 3 simple words carried the weight of centuries of isolation, and now a desperate plea from the stars. Admiral Chen straightened his uniform. "I've called an emergency meeting with the Global Defense Council. They're connecting now." The large screen separated into 12 sections, showing the faces of Earth's military and political leaders. "We all know why we're here," began the Secretary General. "After 300 years of silence, we've received an alien distress call." The Chinese defense minister spoke first. "This could be a trap. Why would anyone reach out to us now?" "Perhaps because they're truly desperate," replied the African Union president. "The signal includes specific coordinates. We should at least investigate." "With what?" asked the Russian admiral. "Our ships have never gone beyond Jupiter." Dr. Kato cleared his throat. "Actually, that's not entirely true. Project Valkyrie was designed for exactly this possibility." Eliza knew about Project Valkyrie, 3 experimental deep space vessels built in secret over the past decade, using theoretical drives based on recovered alien technology. "Those ships are untested for long-range travel," objected the European director. "But they work," Dr. Kato insisted. "The drives are sound. We've run every simulation possible." The Secretary General's face remained impassive. "This isn't just a technical decision. Responding means breaking our isolation. Whatever kept us quarantined might view that as a hostile action. Or maybe it's time we stopped hiding," said Eliza, speaking up unexpectedly. All eyes turned to her. 300 years is a long time to stay in our corner of the galaxy," she continued. "If someone out there needs help, and we can provide it, isn't that what humanity should do?" Silence followed her words. Then, slowly, the Japanese admiral nodded. "I agree. We've prepared for this moment for generations. If we refuse this call, then what have we been preparing for?" The debate continued for hours, but in the end, the vote was clear. Earth would answer the call. 3 days later, Eliza stood in the launch bay, looking at the gleaming hull of the UEDF Thunderchild, Earth's most advanced vessel. As mission commander, she would lead the first official human contact with alien life in centuries. "Nervous?" asked Major Jackson, her second in command. "Wouldn't you be?" Eliza replied with a small smile. "We're about to find out why the galaxy has avoided us for so long." "Maybe they've just been waiting for us to grow up," Jackson suggested. "Or maybe they've been afraid of us," said Dr. Kato, joining them. "The coordinates are for a system 93 light-years away. With the new drive, we should arrive in 2 weeks." Eliza nodded, watching as the final preparations were made. 3 ships, 250 of Earth's finest personnel, heading into the unknown on a rescue mission no one had expected. None of them realized that across the stars, they were known by a name that inspired both hope and terror: Deathworlders. Heroes from the Deathworld. The UEDF Thunderchild emerged from fold space at the exact coordinates provided by the alien signal. Eliza stood on the bridge, her expression grim as she absorbed the scene before them. "My God," she whispered. The view screen showed a graveyard of ships. Twisted metal and debris floated silently in the blackness of space. Some of the wrecks still glowed with residual heat, evidence that the battle had been recent. "Scan for life signs," Eliza ordered. Lieutenant Rivera worked her console quickly. "I'm detecting a small vessel hiding in the magnetic field of the second moon. Very weak energy signature. They're probably trying to stay hidden." "Any signs of the attackers?" Eliza asked. "None, Commander," replied Jackson. "But based on these weapon signatures, they weren't far ahead of our own technology. Nothing like what we feared." Eliza considered this information. "Open a channel to the surviving ship. All frequencies." After a moment of static, a voice responded. "Unknown vessel, please identify. Are you from Earth?" The bridge crew exchanged glances. The voice, distinctly alien yet understandable, sounded both hopeful and afraid. "This is Commander Eliza Mercer of the Earth Defense Ship Thunderchild. We received your distress call. Are you in need of assistance?" A long pause followed. Then, "Yes. Our ship is damaged, life support failing. We are the last survivors of the Selene Defense Fleet. We're sending a shuttle." Eliza replied. "Prepare for rescue." 2 hours later, Eliza stood in the shuttle bay as the airlock cycled open. What she saw next would forever change humanity's understanding of their place in the galaxy. The aliens were tall and slender, with crystalline skin that seemed to glow from within with a soft blue light. They moved with a fluid grace that seemed almost ethereal, but slowly, as if the standard gravity of the shuttle was uncomfortable. 5 of them entered, led by one wearing an ornate, though damaged, uniform. "I am Admiral Tarian of the Selene Confederation," the leader said, then stumbled slightly. Eliza reached out and caught Tarian's arm without thinking. The alien admiral flinched at her touch, eyes widening. "You're so dense," Tarian said quietly. "Sorry," Eliza said, releasing her grip. "Are you injured?" "No, just the gravity. It's very heavy for us." Eliza nodded to Lieutenant Rivera. "Reduce gravity to 60%. As the gravity lessened, the Selene visibly relaxed. Tyrion looked at Eliza with new interest. "You adjust your environment so easily. On our world, this would still be uncomfortably heavy." "Different worlds, different adaptations," Eliza said simply. "Now, tell us what happened here." In the ship's conference room, Tyrion explained about the Voidborn and their sudden, devastating attacks. As he spoke, the Selene kept glancing at the human crew with a mixture of fascination, and what Eliza gradually realized was fear. "You move so quickly," one of the Selene scientists, Malus, observed when Eliza paced around the room. "And your muscles. They're so dense. Earth has higher gravity than most habitable worlds," Dr. Cato explained. "And our atmosphere has more oxygen content. According to our scans of your physiology, you evolved on what we would call a garden world. Your world," Tyrion said carefully, "is classified in our ancient records as a Class 12 death world." Before Eliza could respond, alarms blared throughout the ship. "Commander," Jackson's voice came through the comm. 3 vessels just appeared at the edge of the system. Same design as the wrecked enemy ships. "Voidborn scouts," Tyrion said, fear in his voice. "They must have detected your arrival." "How long before they reach us?" Eliza asked. 25 minutes at their current speed," Jackson replied. Eliza turned to Tyrion. "We came to help, and that's what we'll do. But I need to know, can we communicate with these attackers?" Tyrion shook his head. "They never respond to messages. They simply attack." Then we'll have to show them that was a mistake, Eliza said grimly. She tapped her comm. All hands to battle stations. Prepare for combat. The Seleni looked at each other with uncertainty. They had summoned these humans for help, but they hadn't expected such confidence in the face of an enemy that had destroyed their entire fleet. They were about to discover exactly why humans had a reputation as Deathworlders. The battle was swift and shocking. The Voidborn scouts had expected easy targets. Instead, they found the Thunderchild and her sister ships, the Valiant and Defiance. Eliza watched as the last enemy ship exploded in silence against the blackness of space. She turned to find Admiral Tyrion and the other Seleni staring at her with wide eyes. Your tactics, Tyrion said quietly. They were brutal. Effective, Eliza corrected. We focused fire on their weakest points and used unpredictable movement patterns. You intentionally took damage to create an opening, Malus said, still shocked. No Seleni commander would risk crew lives that way. Eliza shrugged. The shields held. It was a calculated risk. The Seleni exchanged glances that Eliza couldn't quite read. She had saved them, but she sensed a new tension in the room. We should get you to your people, she said. Do you have safe coordinates? Tyrion nodded slowly. Yes, our sanctuary world. Few know its location. 3 days later, the Earth fleet arrived at a hidden planet nestled in a dense nebula. The world below was beautiful with silver oceans and crystal forests that caught the light of its binary stars. A dozen Seleni ships orbited protectively. They're hailing us, Jackson reported. And they seem nervous about our weapons. Tell them we come in peace, Eliza said, and power down all weapon systems. On the surface, the humans were met by the Seleni High Council, 7 elders whose crystalline bodies glowed with deeper, more complex patterns than the others. Among them was Grand Counselor Lysara, who had authorized the distress call. The heroes from Earth, Lysara said, bowing slightly. You answered our call when we had lost all hope. The meeting hall was set to low gravity for Seleni comfort, making the humans' movements seem bouncy and too quick. A crowd of curious Seleni watched from balconies, murmuring among themselves at the sight of the legendary Deathworlders. We're glad we could help, Eliza replied, but we need to understand what we're facing. These Voidborn, what do you know about them? They appeared 8 months ago, Lysara explained. Their ships are controlled by a central intelligence we call the Confluence. It views organic life as inefficient and seeks to replace it with machines. A rogue eye, Dr. Cato said. Fascinating and terrifying. Your ships, another council member said, they move differently than any vessels we've seen. And your battle tactics frightened you. Eliza finished, seeing the truth in their faces. Yes, Lysara admitted. You must understand, Commander, in our history, we have records of Earth. Your world is classified as a Class 12 death world. Dr. Cato raised his eyebrows. What does that mean exactly? It means, Tyrion said, stepping forward, that no Seleni could survive on your planet for more than a few minutes without special equipment. The gravity alone would crush our bodies. The atmospheric pressure would collapse our lungs. Even the bacteria would be lethal to us. And yet you evolved there, Lysara added, becoming strong, fast, and, she hesitated, aggressive, Eliza supplied. Adaptable, Lysara corrected diplomatically. Eliza looked around the room, suddenly understanding the fear in their eyes. You didn't quarantine us. You've been avoiding us. It was thought best, Lysara said carefully. But now we need precisely what makes you different. A younger Seleni stepped forward, their crystalline form pulsing with determination. I am Defense Coordinator Valen. I believe we should learn from the humans. Their methods may seem harsh to us, but they work. They're right, Tyrion agreed. I watched them fight. They don't think like the Confluence. They take risks no logical machine would predict. The council chamber erupted in debate. Some feared the humans would be as dangerous as the Voidborn. Others saw them as their only hope. Finally, Lizara raised her hand for silence. "The Council has decided," she announced. "We will form an alliance with Earth. Defense Coordinator Valen will work with Commander Eliza to prepare our forces." As the meeting ended, Eliza pulled Dr. Kaito aside. "They're afraid of us," she said quietly. "With good reason," he replied. "We've just discovered that humans are the monsters of the galaxy. The question is, can we be the right kind of monsters?" 2 weeks passed quickly. The humans established a base on the sanctuary world and began training the Seleni forces. It wasn't easy. The Seleni had never considered fighting the way humans did. "Again," Eliza said firmly as she watched the Seleni practice evasive maneuvers. "Remember, unpredictability is your advantage." "The confluence thinks in patterns," Valen observed. "My people have always valued order and harmony. These tactics feel wrong to them." "War often feels wrong," Eliza replied. "But surviving feels right." Their conversation was interrupted by alarms blaring across the base. Jackson's voice came through the comm system. "Commander, Voidborn ships have entered the system. It's not a scouting party this time. It's an invasion fleet." Eliza and Valen rushed to the command center. The tactical display showed 50 black ships approaching the planet. "How did they find us?" Lysara demanded. "Unknown," Tyrion answered. "But our sensors detect something different about these ships. They're adapting. The confluence is learning," Dr. Kato said grimly. "It's analyzed its defeats and is changing its approach." Eliza studied the display. "How many ships can we get in the air?" 8 Seleni vessels and our 3 Earth ships," Valen replied. "We're outnumbered." "Numbers aren't everything," Eliza said. She turned to her communications officer. "Contact Earth. Tell them to send everything they've got." Then she faced Dr. Kato. "You said the Voidborn ships are networked. Can we use that against them?" His eyes lit up. "Maybe. If we could access their network, we might be able to plant false information. But we'd need to capture a ship first." "Impossible," Tyrion said. "No one has ever captured a Voidborn ship intact." Eliza smiled. "No Seleni has ever tried. But we have something they don't." "What's that?" asked Valen. "Human insanity," Jackson answered with a grim smile. The battle began hours later. The Voidborn fleet approached in perfect formation, exactly as predicted. The 11 defending ships rose to meet them, seemingly outmatched, but the humans had a plan. While the main forces engaged directly, drawing the Voidborn ship's attention, a small shuttle detached from the Thunderchild. Inside were Eliza, Dr. Kato, and a team of Earth's best soldiers. Their target was the smallest Voidborn ship on the edge of the formation. As they approached, they fired specialized EMP charges that temporarily disabled its systems. Before the ship could recover, they attached to its hull and cut their way inside. What followed was intense close-quarters combat. The ship was defended by robotic drones that moved with precision but lacked creativity. The human soldiers, trained to adapt to changing situations, pushed forward room by room. Dr. Kato reached the ship's central computer core, fingers flying across alien interfaces. "I'm in. Uploading the virus now." Across the battlefield, Voidborn ships suddenly began firing on each other. Their perfect formation dissolved into chaos. Some simply shut down, drifting powerless. "It's working." Jackson's voice came through the comm. When it was over, the remaining Voidborn ships retreated into deep space. The Seleni sanctuary world was saved, for now. In the aftermath, as humans and Seleni gathered to celebrate their victory, Lizara approached Eliza. "You risked your life to capture that ship," she said. "Why?" "It's what we do," Eliza replied simply. "On Earth, we have a saying. The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing." Lizara was quiet for a moment. "Perhaps we were wrong to fear you all these centuries." "Fear is natural," Eliza said. But so is cooperation. We evolved on a death world. Yes, but that made us fighters, not monsters. What happens now? Asked Carrion. Eliza looked out at the stars, thinking of the Voidborn, retreating but regrouping, and the galaxy that had feared humanity for so long. Now, she said, the Deathworlders and the Seleni show the galaxy what we can accomplish together. As word spread through the stars of humans fighting alongside the Seleni, other species began to emerge from hiding. The ancient fear of the Deathworlders was being replaced by a new sentiment: hope. The call for help had been answered, and the galaxy would never be the same.